As the scene opens, the Carter family seated at the kitchen table. Maverick Carter gives his 3 children instructions on what to do in the event they are ever pulled over by police, which is the talk, but to also not be ashamed being black. Star is Maverick's daughter, her mother Lisa, her older half-brother Seven, and younger brother Sekani. Maverick was once part of the most violent gang in the King Lords, but he has since left that life behind. The Carters live in predominantly black neighborhood of Garden Heights. Even with gang violences, there are places like Maverick's grocery store and other shops that thrive. Star attends high school in Williamson, mostly white and rich area. Star feels like suppressing her authenticity to avoid being perceived as overly street at her school, while also dialing back her more polished side when she's around her Garden Heights community. She is dating Chris, who just recently tried to have sex with her when she wasn't ready. He comes to her at school to apologize and show off his corny dance moves. Star knows that she and Chris get looks from the white girls who are too scared to say anything due to their interracial relationship. Star was in a party in Garden Heights with Seven's sister Kenya. Kenya notices a girl outside who's been talking trash about her, so she expects her help up in a fight, but Star refuses. Star leaves Kenya and meets up with her childhood best friend Khalil. The two chat for a while until they see a gang violence, followed by gunshots. The party was over, and Star gets into Khalil's car. He drives Star home as they listen to a song. Khalil points out a famous saying of the late rapper Tupac, which becomes an acronym for Thug Life. Then the two pull over and start to talk about their childhood and how Khalil was Star's first kiss. He kisses her in the car, but she tells him she has a boyfriend. But a short while later, after they drive out, they are pulled over by the cop, Officer McIntosh, aka 115. He tells Khalil he pulled him over for failing to signal and asks for his license and registration. But Khalil argues over the matter. 115 orders Khalil to step out of the vehicle as he runs his license. Khalil looks into his car to see if Star is okay, while Star was telling him to do what the officer says. For some reason, Khalil reaches into his car to take out a hairbrush, and 115, mistaking it for a weapon, opens fire on Khalil. Star runs out of the car to Khalil's side, but 115 cuffs her. The cop realizes Khalil didn't have a weapon in his hand, and he calls for an ambulance. Star weeps as Khalil slowly dies by her side. Star is taken in for questioning by 2 detectives, with her mother by her side. Instead of focusing on the incident at hand, they probe into whether Khalil might have been involved with drugs. Her uncle Carlos, who is also a police officer, intervenes and escorts Star and her mother, Lisa, out of the room. The experience leaves Star deeply shaken, and she continues to be haunted by the trauma days later. Struggling to process what happened, she finds herself unable to share the ordeal with anyone at school. Star goes to Khalil's home to attend his wake. She offers her condolences to his grandmother, Miss Rosalie, who shares with Star that she was the only true friend Khalil ever had. Miss Rosalie also reveals to Star that Khalil had been selling drugs for the leader of the King Lords. Following the wake, Maverick and Carlos get into a heated argument about whether or not the police will investigate the officer involved in Khalil's death. The Carters attend Khalil's funeral at a church. During the service, Seven's biological mother, Aisha, loudly demands that he join her family at the back of the church, her voice rising above the choir. Reluctantly, Seven hesitates, but Lisa encourages him to comply. A lawyer named April Offer steps forward to deliver a powerful speech, addressing the tragic reality of Khalil's death and how it reflects a broader pattern of unarmed black teens being killed by police across the country at an alarming rate. In her speech, she subtly hints that she is aware Star witnessed Khalil's shooting, even though this information had not been publicly revealed. That evening, April visits the Carters and offers Star the opportunity to do an interview about the incident. Star seems hesitant, and April reassures her that it's okay if she decides not to participate. Before April leaves, Star brings up what happened to Natasha, her and Khalil's childhood friend. She recalls how they used to play together as kids until a King Lord shot and killed Natasha in the streets. At the time, Star was too afraid to speak up or identify the shooter, fearing retaliation from him or other King Lords. Months later, she learned that the shooter had been killed in an unrelated rival gang incident, but by then, she still hadn't come forward, leaving her burdened with guilt ever since. April comforts Star, telling her not to feel guilty and emphasizing that this is her chance to seek justice for Khalil. Star's parents accompany her to the interview, where her face is blurred and her voice is distorted to protect her identity. During the interview, Star reveals that Khalil had been working for the King Lords, a detail King later sees on TV. That evening, as the Carters are having dinner, Star and Maverick notice King and his gang standing outside their house, behaving threateningly. Maverick steps outside to confront King, who is furious that Star mentioned him in the interview. The situation escalates into a heated argument, which is interrupted when the police arrive. Two officers approach, and Maverick calmly cooperates until one officer, a black man, suddenly presses Maverick against a window in front of his family. Lisa rushes out to hand the officers Maverick's ID, but tensions rise further when the white officer aggressively demands Seven's ID. Star and a bystander begin recording the confrontation on their phones, capturing the officers' treatment of the family. Realizing they're being filmed, the officers eventually back off and leave. Inside, Sekani is visibly shaken by the incident. Once the family returns home, Star tearfully apologizes for inadvertently drawing King's attention and putting them in danger. Maverick gathers his children outside and has them recite one of the steps from the program he taught them earlier, to have something to live and die for. For Maverick, that something is his entire family. The aftermath of the incident adds even more pressure to Star's life at school. Some students exploit Khalil's death as an excuse to skip class, pretending to care or protest while avoiding their responsibilities. Star begins to drift further apart from Chris, and her relationships with her friends, Haley and Maya, start to deteriorate. Tensions rise when they watch a news report about Officer and his family receiving death threats for shooting Khalil. Haley expresses more sympathy for the police than for Khalil, which deeply upsets Star. When Star confides in her mom about the situation, Lisa points out that Star has always tended to follow Haley's lead without questioning or thinking for herself. On prom night, Star goes with Chris, but she notices the other students giving her strange looks. Chris takes her aside into his limo and confronts her, revealing that he knows she was the witness to Khalil's death. He expresses his hurt that she kept such a significant part of her life hidden from him. Star, feeling misunderstood, tries to explain that Chris can't fully grasp the weight of her experience as a black girl and accuses him of overlooking her racial identity. Chris pushes back, insisting that he sees and loves her for who she truly is, beyond any labels or assumptions. After making up, Chris drives Star and Seven home so he can finally meet Maverick. The meeting doesn't go well. While Lisa is warm and welcoming, Maverick is visibly displeased to learn that Star is dating a white boy. Once Chris leaves, Maverick opens up to Star, expressing his regret that he feels he's failed to show her what a black man should be. Star reassures him, saying he's shown her what a man should be. As the family shares a heartfelt moment, gunshots suddenly ring out, shattering the peace. King's gang is targeting their home. To ensure their safety, Maverick takes the family to Carlos's house to stay. However, despite Lisa's objections, Maverick and Seven decide to return home to stand guard in case King or his men come back. Star later appears before a grand jury to testify against Officer 115 and to share the truth about who Khalil truly was as a person. At school, Haley confronts Star, asking when she'll move on from Khalil's death. Star, fed up with Haley's insensitivity, fires back, accusing Haley of only being friendly with her because she sees Star as a safe or non-threatening black girl, a claim Haley doesn't deny. Haley goes further, suggesting that Khalil, as a drug dealer, was likely to die young anyway, and that it was reasonable for the officer to mistake his hairbrush for a weapon. Enraged, Star grabs Haley's hairbrush from her backpack and waves it like a weapon, shouting at her until Haley breaks down in tears. Star tells her that now she understands how it feels to be judged and feared simply for being black. Chris is driving Star home when they notice a crowd of black protesters marching towards City Hall. Checking their phones, they discover that Officer 115 was not indicted for Khalil's death. Shortly after, Star receives a text from Kenya urging her to pick up Seven, who has been beaten up by King. Star and Chris rush to King's house, where they find Kenya and her younger sister Lyric tending to Seven's injuries. Aisha, Seven's mother, dismissively tells the kids to leave, warning them that King will be back soon and that she just wants to drink in peace. As the group heads toward the front door, they spot King pulling up in his car. Aisha quickly directs them to escape through the back door to avoid any further trouble. The group makes their way to City Hall, where a large protest is gathering. As they approach, a SWAT team blocks the crowd's path. Star urges Chris to take Kenya and Lyric to safety. She then spots April, who hands her a megaphone so her voice can reach the crowd. Standing on higher ground, Star reveals to everyone that she was the witness to Khalil's death, but emphasizes that everyone present is also a witness to the injustice. Her words resonate deeply with the crowd, but tensions escalate as the police begin firing tear gas. Star grabs one of the canisters and throws it back toward the officers. She and Seven attempt to flee, but are overwhelmed by the gas. Two of Maverick's friends spot them, helping them into their truck along with two others. Star instructs the men to take them to her father's store, where they can use milk to ease the effects of the tear gas. At the store, the men help Star and Seven pour milk over their faces to soothe the burns before leaving. King, watching from a distance, sees the siblings alone. As Star listens to voicemails from her mother, one of King's men sets the store on fire. Star and Seven try to escape through the back door, but find it locked. Nearby shopkeepers notice the fire and rush to help pry the door open. Maverick, Lisa, and Seikani arrive just in time, and Maverick manages to get his children out. King, seeing this, charges toward them. Maverick threatens King and reaches for his gun, only to discover Seikani already holding it, aiming it at King. At that moment, two white officers arrive, drawing their weapons on Seikani, shocking everyone. Star steps forward, hands raised, shielding her brother and shouting at the officers, demanding how many more lives must be lost before they understand. Seikani drops the gun, and the officers lower theirs. King, realizing the situation, leaves the Carters alone. King is eventually arrested following numerous testimonies, bringing an end to his control over the neighborhood. Star and Chris have reconciled, their relationship now stronger than before. While Star has cut ties with Haley, she remains close friends with Maya. Seven successfully graduates from high school and prepares to start college the following year. Maverick's store is being rebuilt, and his relationship with Carlos has improved significantly. Star visits Khalil's home, where Miss Rosalie invites her to take anything she'd like from Khalil's room. Inside, Star discovers the Harry Potter wands they used to play with as children. In her final reflection, Star promises to honor her name by being a light in the darkness, determined to make a difference.